Stargazing is the song you did together with Kygo. You sang the song, which is absolutely amazing. Is it hard for you to choose to work together with a DJ and sing a song or not singing a song? How is that process of deciding singing that or not singing that song?
Sure. Well, the story of Stargazing is I wrote it with some friends in Los Angeles in July of last year. That night, my publisher sent it to Miles and Kygo, and Miles is the manager, and Kygo loved it and asked for the stems on Tuesday. By Wednesday, we had a version back from him, and by Friday, it was a confirmed single. It came out 2 months later. So it was so quick. And then they were gonna, at that point, I'd just been a songwriter. So I was writing songs for other people with the hopes of pulling a Bruno Mars and a Julia Michaels and eventually getting to the place where people took me seriously and I could release songs myself. And there were talks of putting some other bigger names on the song, but it was really Kygo who stood up, Kygo and Miles who stood up and said, no, we want that voice on the song, the original songwriter. And I'm forever grateful to them because they kept me on it. And even when he released his album, I kind of thought, oh, well, it's over now. Stargazing had its run. And it just kind of got a boost off the album and kept going, and people kept playing it. And, I think it hit top 5 here in Germany and number 1 in France, and it kind of just kept going. It's really amazing that I now get to come here and promote my own songs and tell my own story and speak to you.
Yeah, it's absolutely lovely.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm happy as well that you're here. So talking about new stuff now, you are a singer as well, as you just said. Tell me something about the music coming up. What can we expect?
Yes. Okay. So if you don't know, I just released a single called My Body, which you should go check out. Shameless plug. Here we go. And that is going to be the first single off my upcoming EP, which I believe is going to drop in October. Not to put a date on it yet, but at some point in October. And the music is soulful pop. So you can expect kind of more of the same really heartfelt, emotional lyrics. That's what I want to do with my music. I want to tell stories that move people. And tell stories that resonate with people. So that's what I hope this EP does, and I hope that people get a bit more insight into me and what I stand for, and they can see themselves in the music, and they get emotionally moved, because that's what I think music should do.
Absolutely. Yeah, my point exactly.
Good.
When I started to get ready for this interview yesterday, I read something on the internet like you started writing songs when you were 10, is that right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
No, I mean, I was pretty normal. I was the kid on the soccer field in the background, like picking the grass, and, I played baseball and I did normal kid stuff. But was always really drawn to music and writing music and singing and acting. And, when I was a little kid, I would do theater around Chicago. So I was actually working my first professional job. I was 9 years old and I was doing theater in Chicago. So that's kind of where I come from, and just always loved music and performance and piano and writing and singing. And that was me. That was me as a kid. But I was pretty well-rounded. My parents made sure that I had a little bit of everything.
What did change now from getting this big fat step, like being here doing promotion for your album, become a singer and stuff? What did change in your life? The biggest change? What was the biggest change?
What was like the turning point? I mean, Stargazing was, technically my turning point. I'd been so I started off as a kid, doing theater and writing music and performing. When I was 16, I actually got picked up by a producer in Chicago, started working on an album, put out an album under a different name, don't go looking for it, which got picked up by Radio Disney. And then I ended up touring the country, as a kid, opening for a bunch of Disney artists like Raven Simone and Corbin Bleu from High School Musical. And that was a lot of fun. And I had 4 backup dancers and a bus with my face on it, which was crazy. And then I went to college and studied songwriting and music and a little bit of acting. And I went to NYU, the Clive Davis Department of Recorded Music, and then got an internship at EMI Music Publishing, where I kind of learned what it was to be a songwriter and the publishing industry, and kind of got a behind the scenes look at the record business from a songwriter perspective. And was performing in little clubs around New York the whole time, trying to get my artist project off the ground. But, it's really hard. It's hard to be an artist, and it's hard to get people to take you seriously. I could get 200 people out at a show one night and then 2 the next. And, but I'd made inroads at this publishing company. So when I graduated, I was lucky enough to play my songs for the guys I had worked for, and they started putting me in studio sessions in New York. So that was kind of my first turning point, was after that internship, which is my first piece of advice to anybody, is if you're trying to get into the music industry, get an internship at a publishing company or a record company, or possibly a radio company, and make those inroads so that you can meet people and be just the most kick-ass intern you could possibly be, so that when you graduate and you turn around and you want something, they'll give you an opportunity. So they did. They gave me an opportunity, and I got in sessions and started honing my chops in songwriting, and got a couple of cuts and moved to LA and landed as a songwriter in LA, but no one in LA took me seriously because I had no cuts, or the cuts that I had were really small. And then I continued to write with international friends and gain some notoriety in LA, and we wrote Stargazing, and that brings me to my biggest break, which really was the turning point for me to stand on my own 2 feet as an artist and have people take me seriously and listen to my music, as opposed to just going, oh, he's a songwriter, he can write hits for other people.
Coming back to that name thing, I just heard that it's a very funny story how the name Justin Jesso was created. So tell me that funny story.
So my name, Jesso, is my great-grandfather's nickname. His name was Jesse Cohen, and he changed it to Jesse Cowan in the 1920s. And he was a band leader who used to play piano for Al Capone, who, if you guys don't know, is one of the most infamous gangsters of Chicago in the 1920s. Used to kill a lot of people. So basically, I have mob connections and don't mess with me. That's the takeaway here. But that's how I got my name, in tribute to my great-grandfather.
That's a pretty cool story.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Who's basically a gangster.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You look pretty much like one.
Thank you. Yes. I look very badass.
Yeah, badass. Totally. So let's just get back to some random stuff. I would like to know, have you some favorite TV series now to binge watch, like when you're on a plane or stuff?
Right now I'm watching Ozark. I'm like halfway through season 2. It's good. I like it. It's entertaining. I like Jason Bateman. Laura Linney's cool. Speaking of Jason Bateman, one of my favorite comedies of all time is Arrested Development. I don't know if you know that TV show.
I do.
Yeah, I love Arrested Development.
Which song is the last one you streamed or heard on your smartphone?
Oh, the last thing I listened to was a Nora En Pure record. Because I just saw her the other day. This was it. It's called Don't Look Back by Nora En Pure. And I was listening to it because she was playing with us in Ibiza. And I wanted to listen to her music after I met her.